Hello heathens, and welcome to my channel. I am Beauty Heathen, and my channel is dedicated to the exploration of paganism through the medium of cosmetics. If you enjoy the subject matter or find my content of interest, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and set that bell to all to be notified of when I release new videos, which is Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In case you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. If you are wondering why I'm connecting cosmetics with paganism, it's actually thanks to our early pagan ancestors that we even have cosmetics today. For example, the ancient Egyptians were the ones who figured out carmine and crushing beetles for red pigment, just as an example, but there's many others. Our ancient ancestors have applied some sort of face paint to their faces for spiritual, cultural, protective reasons throughout history. So this is kind of why I'm connecting the two together. Just to give my normal information, I use cosmetic practice heads because paganism is a very culturally diverse subject, and as you can probably tell from my very, very pasty white arms, I am not somebody who is a person of color, and therefore I use these heads in order to be cognizant of being mindful of ethnicity. Because one thing I am not about to do is attempt any make, shape, or form of blackface. That is not going to happen. I am not that person. Hell no. The cosmetic practice heads, before I use them, are always sprayed with a layer of hairspray. And today I applied the Wonder Beauty Glowing Ahead Illuminating Face Oil once again, simply because it's what I have and I ain't got no money to get a cheaper primer. I got that in a BoxyCharm subscription, so it didn't cost me what it normally costs. I then applied a layer of LA Girl Pro Coverage HD Longwear Illuminating Foundation in the color Porcelain. And I applied a thin layer of setting powder, and then I put on the NYX eyeshadow base primer in white. So I'm trying a different process today. After struggling the past few times I've been making these videos, I was wondering, is it the setting powder? What's the problem? And after consulting some of my most favorite MUAs on Twitter, shout out to Gore Girl and Nat V and anyone else who commented and gave me some tips. I'm trying to remember the ads. I'll tag them down below because I want to give them credit for giving me a few pointers. One of which is do not set the frickin' eyeshadow primer. So I'm going to give it a try this way today, and hopefully it doesn't get too gooey. As always, cosmetic practice heads do not have human texture. They do not have human skin. They do not have pores. So there is literally nothing on these heads that's going to help grip the cosmetics. So if you're looking for cosmetic product reviews, this is not the channel for that, because I'll be honest, using cosmetics on these heads can be rather hit or miss sometimes, but that is not a reflection of the cosmetics themselves. It may just be an off night. So we will see how things go tonight. I'm just spinning my little thing here looking for clean brushes. Trying to pull out a few different things. I think I goofed and I think I used most of my eyeshadow brushes. And I haven't washed them yet. I'm looking for any small brushes I can use for today's video. Sorry, I'm a little bit disorganized today. When I say it has been a day, I mean it has been a day. If you've caught any of my earlier videos, last week started the busy period at my workplace, and even though we were very well prepared for it this time, it's still a very long, arduous process. And although my work day went okay, from the moment I walked in the door when I got home, everything has gone wrong. Everything has gone wrong. So it's now about 10 o'clock at night when I'm even just starting this video. So, yeah. I'm tired. It's been a very long day. It's been a very difficult evening, and I wanted to come upstairs into my recording room, do something creative, and hopefully it works today, so pray for me. And for today's video, I did this one purposefully because the day that I'm posting this video is the actual holiday that the video is coming out. And that is the holiday of Ostara. And let me tell you the literal rabbit hole I fell down in researching today's video. Very unexpectedly, did not think that this was going to be a difficult research video at all. And thankfully I'm pretty good at researching, and I was able to get things pretty swiftly. But it took a few days, because it took a turn that I was not expecting, and I had to, because on the internet there's been a lot of misinformation about this holiday and aspects of it, and I didn't expect that at all. When I say it took me down a rabbit hole, I mean that quite literally. I actually had to research the evolution of rabbits just to be sure that I had the correct information. Yeah. I also had to look up ancient Germanic polytheism, which subsequently led to a very unexpected discovery involving the evolution of the gods and goddesses recognized by the Proto-Indo-European pagans. And as I just mentioned, in today's episode, we will be discussing the subject of Ostara. And before I get right into it, I'm using a section of an Ulta box that was sold at the holidays. Unfortunately, it is not available anymore, so if you did want something like this, I'm very sorry they don't have this specific thing available anymore. I don't know if they'll bring it back at the holidays again. We will see. I'm going to try to use the Bella & Co. Palette. If that doesn't work, I have my So Jaded palette and the Jeffree Star Bloodlust palette in the wings. So, here we go. I'm going to start off with, I think it's Matte Nude Rose Blush. I tend to work a little bit differently. I do the blush and highlighter first, then the eyes, then the mouth. So, just as the pagan calendar marks Yule for the winter solstice, and it's looking like it may not be the best cosmetic day. So too does it mark the vernal or spring equinox with the holiday of Ostara, which is a celebration of the return of spring and the annual rebirth of nature. I might have to mute this color a bit. Like I said, I'm trying a whole new process for prepping the head, so today may be a little bit difficult. I'm going to try blending it in a bit with a different brush. Traditionally, Ostara takes place sometime between March 19th, like it does this year, and March 21st of each year. But festivals and festivities marking the vernal equinox around the world tend to occur anywhere between the spring equinox and the first full moon after it. Okay, I muted it a little bit. I'm also not a trained MUA, so if I do things horribly, well, there you go. I probably am not using the right blushes for things. If you guys have tips or any pointers, or if you see me doing just something absolutely horribly wrong, do not be afraid to comment down in the comments below and say, hey, idiot, try this, instead of, just watching me make an absolute mess of things. I'm always willing to try new things and learn. Ostara dates back to celebrations in ancient Germanic polytheism, where symbols of fertility such as rabbits, baby animals, and eggs were prevalent. But Ostara isn't just the pagan name for the spring equinox. She is also a goddess in and of herself. Ostara, the Germanic goddess, heralds the beginning of spring. She is the maiden goddess, full of potential, representing the opportunity of growth and rebirth after the stagnation of winter. Just opening the palette, and let's see what I can do. I'm going to attempt a spring look, but I make no promises. Nothing has a shade name, so if you have this palette, feel free to follow along. I'm just going to do my best. There are several different translations of the meaning of Ostara's name. There's east, dawn, and morning light, indicating the returning warmth of the sun's rays and the lengthening days. Just putting down a beige base, or I'm trying to. Let me see if I can use a different brush. We will see if it works. I have to say that this palette, the pigment does pick up very easily on the brush, and it seems to be working well tonight, so Gore Girl or Not V, if you are watching, thank you. Oh my god, this is so much easier. Okay. In Germany, her warm nature is still marked by bonfires lit at dawn on the spring equinox. The goddess was also known as Ostara, and although much of her story has been lost, her name lives on as it is the root of the English words for both Easter and estrogen. Wow, I can't believe how much easier this is. Ugh. How many months did I struggle? Oh my god. I swear, I can't believe how much easier this is. Sorry, I know I'm like gushing more about the cosmetics, but I really, man, it's been months. Months of me doing this channel, and it has been a sincere struggle. A really sincere struggle. Okay, let's see if we can try actual pigments here, and we'll see what I can come up with. Okay, I'm gonna try this purple shade on the now I'm blanking on the words for things. The crease. Let's see. The hair and painted eggs. Of course I scrolled too far. I'm sorry. The hair and painted eggs are both potent symbols of fertility, reflecting the nature of the spring goddess. One myth tells that when the goddess came across a young bird that was dying of cold due to her late arrival, she warmed him up and turned him into a hare, which is just another name for a rabbit. These ancient symbols are still found in our Easter celebrations today, when the Easter Bunny hides chocolate eggs for the children to find. In doing the research for this, as I mentioned, there was a lot of misinformation. And a lot of information was even very conflicting about the goddess Ostara. Some even went so far as to claim that because the first mention of Ostara in text was in the 8th century, they claimed that pagans were the ones who appropriated Ostara from the Christian Easter. And one even claimed hares didn't even exist until the 16th century. However, just a few extra minutes of digging proved that claim to be inextricably false, as rabbits, in one form or another, have existed for well over 12,000 years. And proof of their being hunted for their pelts and meat can be traced back to the Pleistocene era. You'll have to forgive me. Even just the one article that I stumbled upon with regards to this subject, when they were insinuating all of that stuff, and when I went through to researched things further and found that a lot of what they were saying was just blatantly wrong, I got so irritated. And the article that I found that I'm talking about was released on the website Pantheos, which, if you are not somebody in the pagan community, Pantheos tends to be a resource website with a lot of information on paganism. And especially when you're starting out or you're trying to learn information, it can have a lot of resources and information that can help you start to learn different aspects of pagan beliefs. I'm just taking a pink color and putting it on the eyes. This one seems to have been, sorry, I'm just gonna say it. It seems to have been too firmly pressed in the pan. I'm struggling to get some of the pigment onto the brush. I may not be a trained makeup artist. At most, I'm a makeup enthusiast, but I have learned some things. Yeah, this was pressed really, really hard into the pan. I'm not getting the color I would like to get on the eyes, but I'm going to do my best to make it somewhat match on both eyes. I mean, I can't even, usually if you really dig into a eyeshadow, the eyeshadow will start to crumble a bit as you literally dig into it. Nothing is coming up. Nothing. And other eyeshadows were not as strongly pressed. That pink color is being a little bit of a problem for me. Trying to figure out where to go from here, considering that didn't do what I'd hoped it would. Let me put this one to the side. Let me go to the R.O.U.G.H palette. Maybe I'll have a little bit of luck being able to do something. I don't know. Jewel tones are a little bit too dark for what I'm trying to do. It's one of those days, guys. Sorry about this. I struggle with the Makeup Revolution palettes. They don't always work. Don't worry, I was not throwing any palettes. I had a little bit of, let's see, Picante. Beautiful palette, not what I'm looking for. I think I may have done a lot of my shopping at the wrong time of year. Let me try the Makeup Revolution Under Your Spell palette. It has some lighter colors, although they're all glitters and not quite what I'm looking for. It may just be what I'm stuck with for today, so please do forgive me with that. But as I was saying, while it is true that the first mention of Ostara happened in the 8th century, historians have since been able to trace her roots back to a much more ancient goddess. And that goddess's name is Housos. And before I delve into Housos, I would like to make one sincere comment. Because particular article that I've been mentioning really just absolutely irritated me to no degree. The written history of humans is a far more recent evolution than the whole of human history. And just as deities and belief systems of other ancient spiritual paths have had to be reconstructed based on archaeological evidence, the information of Hausos is the same, as she dates back to early Proto-Indo-European culture and predates any of the pantheonic religions that evolved from it. And basically what I'm just trying to say is, just because ancient belief systems, animal species, and so on may not have a written account, does not in any way, make, shape, or form negate that they did in fact exist. And when you're doing research, it's important not just to look at one or two resources and only go relying on written accounts through history. It's important to also delve into and do research in areas that you may not think of. A lot of human evolution and human religion isn't going to be written about, at least was not from the earliest extent, unless you start delving into things that are more looking at it from historical and scientific perspectives. And from what I saw from this one particular individual, it looked like they were relying purely based off of some religious scholars, but religious scholars don't necessarily incorporate all of the information that there is evidence of. So that's just my little rant on it. This is working much better. I sometimes struggle with Makeup Revolution products working, but I have to say they're working really well tonight. Once again, thank you very much to Gore Girl and Nat V, both setting me straight on not setting the frickin' eye primer. I'm just trying something a little different tonight. Trying to do a spring themed look. I started with Siren Song, then I went to Love Potion, and now I'm doing Voodoo Doll. This may be an older palette. I'm not sure when it first came out, so. But I do know it's still readily available. I got this at Ulta. So, because of the nature of Hausos, I didn't do my own scripting for her, and I was very grateful to find, shortly before I started recording, a website that went into a fair amount of information on her and how she was both discovered and how her history was traced. And it, Hausos was a dawn goddess of the Proto-Indo-European time frame. And from the Proto-Indo-European paganism evolved Old English Ostara, Lithuanian Austrine, Roman Aurora, Greek Eos, and Vedic Ushas. So Proto-Indian animism and belief systems caused the evolution of a lot of different religions that interestingly have that common root. I believe the only one that has steadily existed is Hindu, which I believe is the one that, yes. They said she's the Anglo-Saxon, Lithuanian, Roman, Greek, and Hindu dawn goddess. And they said that they are all probably related and descended from an ancient goddess worshipped 6,000 years ago. So, Hausos, the Proto-Indo-European dawn goddess, long day, forgive me. It says, we have no writing or records about Hausos, just as we have no writing or records of any part of Proto-Indo-European, or PIE, language and culture. All we know about the religion, the PIE, Proto-Indo-European people, followed, we learn by reconstructing things and working backwards from the many European religions that descended from PIE, as well as ancient Hindu texts known as the Vedas, which is something I will cover at some point. I'm going to take this color Enchanted and put it on the lid here, just for a little bit of color, but nothing. I have to say, these are really, really, really chunky glitter, and it looks like, although I'm not entirely sure yet, let me try switching brushes first before I say it's doing what I think it's doing. See if a change in brushes will fix things a bit. Okay, yep, that fixed it. I was almost afraid that the eyeshadow base was lifting off the cosmetic practice head. It's done that to me before, so I wasn't sure if I was seeing the under skin color peeking through, but no, it seems to be laying down okay. Let me see if there's, I'm going to try taking a little bit of Siren Song and Magic Spell. I'm going to dip back and forth. I know they're two very different colors, and see if I can't blend these a little bit so the line isn't quite so harsh. That seems to be working a little bit okay. Well, hello, I got a lot more pigment on this side than I did on the other. So we'll see if I can get them to match. I make no promises. Okay, yeah. A little bit. It's a little bit darker on this side. But by working backwards from the 5 deities in the post Ostara, the English spring goddess, and so forth. And seeing what they have in common, we can get a rough idea of what the original goddess was like and work out her name. We know that she was associated with the rising of the sun, and she probably rode in a chariot pulled by horses. We know she was beautiful and probably a symbol of love and lust, as well as fertility and rebirth. And more than likely, she was the child of the Sky Father, Deus Ter, who I guess was another Proto-Indo-European deity. And her name was Hausos, meaning east and dawn. And the names of all of the subsequent goddesses are derived from her name. So when we look at Ostara, Eostra, or any number of the deities worshipped around this time of year, we can see how, really without question, a lot of them are similar or quite even possibly the same deity as the one that was worshipped by the Proto-Indo-Europeans. And she just went through name changes over time, based on culture, based on what's the word I'm looking for? Region and location of where the worshippers were. I think that's a somewhat decent eye look. Not the worst I've ever done. There's always room for improvement for me, so. Okay, these are not the colors that I want. I want to give a nice spring lip color. And yep, that's the one I was looking for. Let me just double check these others. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll do that one. Maybe I'll do that one. We'll find out in a minute. So, do I want grape soda? I think I'll do Mai Tai today. And as much as this color would be bright on a person, it tends to be a little bit more muted on the heads. At least was from previous experiences. I don't know what it's going to be today. Let's see. I just want to make sure I got all the information that I did. There's nothing worse than when I'm doing a look and I get sidetracked by the art that I'm doing on the head and be like, oh wait, I forgot to mention XYZ in the script. Okay, so today it's definitely a bright color. I've been using some new products mainly because the settings powder that I used to use, I ran out of. I used it all up. Project Pan. So I've been using different ones. Today I tried the Ciate London one that I got in the last BoxyCharm that I ordered. I have since canceled my subscription. I might try a little bit something different. Let me try, because that's a little brighter than what I had planned to do. Let me try mixing a little bit of Lilac Moon with it and see if it doesn't get more of the effect that I was looking for. I'm trying to go for a more pastel pink finish. I do have a J-Cat lip palette, but sometimes it does not want to cooperate, and it doesn't necessarily have all the colors I'm looking for. Okay. By the way, these lip colors are from R.O.U.G.H. If you haven't tried their lipsticks, I highly, highly recommend them, because I have to say I have not been disappointed in their quality whatsoever. Just trying to... Still want some of that rosy color to it, but just ever so slightly muted. Oh. Sorry, I try to be as clean with the lines and everything as I can be. So yeah, that was a combination of Mai Tai and Lilac Moon. Not a bad look today. I did buy did I bring it upstairs? Yes, I did. A brow product. They're stamps. Mainly because if you think I'm going to try to freehand brows, man, there is not a snowball's chance in hell. And of course I just dropped that. Let me just see. Not that they're really needed per se, but the only way you find out how things work is to actually try them. Nah, I don't want to do that one either. Comes with 3 different, oops, types of brows and a brow product. Yeah, I'll try that one. Never know until you try. I just got this off Amazon, so more than likely this would work better with maybe Brow Bar or something from R.O.U.G.H. But ooh. Trying to evenly coat the stamp. Try to, I think I put a little bit too much on the stamp. Here we go. Wish me luck. Alright. Okay, I just made a huge mess. Feel free to laugh at me because I know I am. Oh my god, what did I do? Okay, let's see if we can... Oh wow, this is really powdery. I think this would probably work best if you had eyebrows. I don't think I got the placement right at all. But you know what? I did one. Why not go for the other? The only real way you're gonna learn how to use different products is if you actually go to try to use them, right? And hey, I'd really rather learn how to use something on something that's not my own face than on my own face, you know? Okay, so there to there. I got that one a little bit better, but they're definitely not correct. Oh my god. Okay, I think with that I'll probably call it a night. Oh my god. Wow. Not at all the same, not at all in the same position, but at least I learned a better technique. Apply the brow product to the stamp and then stamp it on the head versus dipping the stamp into the brow product and getting that big hole. Oh my god. Look at how ridiculous this is, I swear. Wow. Okay. Anyway, I do hope this video has imparted some knowledge on both the holiday as well as the goddess Ostara. And if you enjoyed this video and wish to have more like it, even if I massively fail at doing cosmetics, please be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Don't be shy, I won't bite. Before you go, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell. And with all of that said, until next time, I wish you love, I wish you kindness, I wish you joy, I wish you peace, and most of all, I wish you brightest blessings. And until next time, blessed be.